Hi, Charlie Badenhop here. I'm sitting in Chiang Rai, Thailand, where I live. And with me is my friend and colleague, Joseph George, and he's sitting in India. And one of the great things about the world these days is here we are having a session together. So Joseph knows a reasonable amount about my work, and he has an issue that he'd like to work on today, which we're going to do. And I want to explain the process a little bit of what it is we're doing. Sometimes I'm calling it rewiring your memories. And other times I'm calling it releasing neuromuscular lock. So when we use our muscles, there's nerve activity has to fire off. Your nerves have to fire off. For me, for instance, even to open and close my hands. So that's neuro. Muscular doesn't have to mean large muscles. I don't have any large muscles. And the neuromuscular lock that almost all of us have going on to some extent is what's called the intrinsic muscles, which are the internal smaller muscle mass that does things to give shape to our rib cage and such. So not these big muscles or like we use when we're running or something like that. The smaller muscles that give us our overall muscle tone. That something happens. Let's say I got badly frightened once and I went, and then my eyebrows never really came down after that. And I'm walking around, and then maybe I noticed that I soon need glasses because my eyes are not focusing well. What I'm doing with my eyebrows now, once it becomes a habit, is neuromuscular lock. There's no more movement in the eyebrows. So that the supposition here is when we release that neuromuscular lock, we're rewiring our memories and we're able to engage in life from a much more positive point of view. Okay, so that's the background. And Joseph has worked with me regarding something else for one session, so he's familiar with this process. Want to make that clear. And pretty certain he'll get some results today, but let's see, maybe not. And we're going to walk through the process because I want to show it to you as the audience, as well as having Joseph also do it. And in order for this process to work for Joseph or any of my clients long-term, they should be doing it 3, 4, 5 times a day. It depends on how they're feeling in general. So this process, this protocol, I call it, can be very good in helping people, for instance, with post-traumatic stress. So if the person is like having trouble sleeping and literally biting pencils all day and so forth and so on, I might say, for the first week, you might want to do it 10 times a day. But pretty much nobody can think and talk like they usually do when they're doing this protocol. And so let's just get down to the first part, which is, so Joseph, you have a concern or intent for today, yes?
Yes,
and
I do.
And
thank you, Charlie.
Please tell us what it is.
The pandemic has given me opportunity to kind of reflect and realize that even before the pandemic, I would hesitate to spend or invest time or energy on what people might call marketing or promotional activities for my business.
Mm-hmm.
And as I reflected back, given our past association, I was thinking perhaps there is something like a subconscious trauma which prevents me or holds me back from investing that kind of time and energy. And that's something perhaps if I get over, I can do better so that my skills and abilities are known to more people than my traditional reliance on past clients referring me to new clients. So perhaps little more than word of mouth business is what I'm looking for if I get over this
Okay. So,
inhibition. Yeah.
okay. So first I would just like to say, in general, I'm very hesitant to use words like post-trauma, some kind of trauma or something. We don't, I mean, could be, but I don't know, and chances are you don't know. And I don't think we help ourselves by assuming we have any kind of trauma. And because anyway, the biggest thing is that you have all the resources you need to accomplish everything in life that you'd like to accomplish. And of course, well, I don't know if it's of course, but when I say resources, I mean also family, friends, colleagues, loved ones. It doesn't all have to be done only by Joseph. So here's what I think I heard you say, but please don't hesitate to correct me. I think I heard you say, for some reason, I have a hesitancy to market myself. And I find that even pre-pandemic, I was kind of avoiding that activity. And I really want to get into engaging more fully in marketing myself from today forward.
Yes. Or whenever I get clearer about what is it that is, I want to do more of it. Yeah, sure.
Okay? So in regard to you, like this, so far when you've been thinking about marketing yourself, if 10 was having the perfect website and marketing plan and 1 is doing nothing, where do you feel yourself being at the moment?
I think it's about 3.5.
Okay, 3.5. Good. Well, that gives us a lot of opportunity to improve. So that's fantastic. Okay, I'm going to take a moment myself and just pause and make sure I'm understanding and feel right. Okay, and the next, I knew there was a piece of information missing. The piece of information is, let's make believe you've accomplished everything you'd like to accomplish in regard to marketing yourself. It could be great if it's just 3 words that describe that. At the most, a very short sentence. What would it be?
That customers find me likable, less hesitant, I'm more committed to my kind of work.
Okay. Likable. Less hesitant is pointing towards the negative. Do you understand what I mean?
Spontaneous.
Okay. Likable, spontaneous,
Committed.
committed. Likable, spontaneous, and committed. So basically, all of the marketing is in place. More people are showing up. I ask you, how did you get there? And you say, well, I'm not sure how I got there, but I'm finding that people find me likable, spontaneous, and committed.
Yes.
So that's the intention that we're holding. And it's important to have an intention doing anything. That's the intention that we're holding. And in regard to doing the eye circles, Joseph, take a moment and just, you're doing nothing else, just sitting there. And then I'm using the term circles. And Maybe the audience can hear my dog fooling around with a dish out there. I'm not sure if they can. I'm just working from my house. They could be squares, but anyway, circles. Yeah. So start doing your eye circles nice and slow, please. Much slower than that, please, Joseph. Still much slower. That's the speed there. Slow, slow, slow. And you continue, Joseph, see what everyone finds is there's certain areas that they go slowly, and then the eyes tend to go, whoop, like 90 degrees or something, and then they go slowly again. Slower than that even. That's it. That's it. Continue that. Continue that. That's it. That was a bit quick, but good. Yeah, so take a breath or two. And I'm just going to move over here for a sec and do that. Keep my puppy engaged. And likable, spontaneous, and dedicated, I think is what it was. And sometimes those terms, committed. Thank you for correcting me. And sometimes the terms will change in your own mind, not just when I make a mistake, but you come up with something else. And go around in the other direction if you don't mind, please. And slow, Joseph. And I want to tell you playfully, but honestly, as you're doing, continue the circles. I'm always a little bit hesitant to say your name because I just saw it in writing in the beginning in a listserv that we both belong to. And I wasn't certain whether you were putting your first name first and your last name last, or like I could be Badenhop Charlie, but normally spoken Charlie Badenhop. So I wasn't sure whether Joseph George was actually George Joseph. So you have two names, both of which could be first names. Slower, please. Slower. Much slower. Likable, spontaneous, and committed, I think. Good, just one or two more circles. Okay, now just look at me normally if you don't mind. So, what we're looking to notice is change. And second, my dog is definitely, he's brought the plastic dish into me because he wants to play with it, so it's outside again. We're looking for change, and when we get change, we do best when we don't put it in terms of better or worst. You know, it could be like sometimes when I work with people with headaches, they might say in the first couple of minutes they feel greater pain in their head. It's like, okay, I'm sure you're not happy with that, but change is what we're after because change means we're not locked. So we've done the eye circles. I'm not expecting that you're going to stand up and say, sorry, I have no more time because I'm going to start doing marketing right now. And I'm just asking you very honestly to tell me in regard to doing really successful marketing, you started at a 3.5, 10 being perfect, 1 being like really forget about it. Where do you find yourself now?
4.5.
4.5. So you went up. You did nothing except roll your eyes around in your head, and you're somehow feeling a bit more confident.
Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. So to me, that means you've let go of a little bit of the neuromuscular locking.
Yeah, yeah.
So now, the second part of this protocol is the following. I'm going to do some sounding. You already know how to do it, but I'll do at least one round myself so our audience gets to hear it. And this sounding It could sound a bit like Om, because that's certainly a sound that most people listening to this will have heard. But it's just important that it's a round sound and not, so a sound that has a fullness and a roundness to it. I'll just do a short version of my one round of sounding.
Sure.
I could have gone on longer, but not important. Just 1 second again. And okay. So I'm going to ask you to do, I don't know, about 8 rounds, Joseph. And at some point, I'll just like raise my hand or something, and you'll know that I'm about to suggest that you stop. And you don't have to stop within a split second, just come to completion. Go ahead and start, please. And excuse me, the 3 terms are?
It's committed to the last one. First one was spontaneous, likable, spontaneous, committed.
Yes. Good. And you see, already it had somehow shifted, because you had to say, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. So likable, spontaneous, and committed is what we're going for. And somehow that's related to how you're imagining marketing yourself. Yeah. So we're just kind of assuming that that's what you're going for. And once you start the toning, I don't think you'll be able to at the same time repeat these words in your head, but this is what we're going towards. Go ahead, please. Likable, spontaneous, committed. Your last round. That can be your last round. The most noticeable thing for me, just one person noticing, is there was a much fuller rest period in between the sounds. And usually that's quite excellent, because when people start off, sometimes they're like, and can only do, sometimes my clients can only do 4 or 5 seconds starting out. And when they only do 4 or 5 seconds, it's quickly, and then, okay, I'll do it again. So the fact that you started getting to the point where there was like ending, and then this, what felt like a big open space to me. Okay, so I don't know, I mentioned likable, spontaneous, committed a couple of times, but we're doing almost nothing with language here. Asking you again, truthfully, maybe you're at a 2 now, maybe you're at a 6, whatever. Where would you put yourself on the continuum of doing great marketing?
5.
5. So it went up again. And actually, we're going to do a third technique. There's actually 5 or 6 in total that we could do, but they all meant to nest on top of each other. So you do the sounding, you do the eye rolls. And then when you do the sounding, it already starts from some of the improvement that you've had in the eye rolls. And now we're going to do a third thing, which is going to, I'm calling this the physical representation of how you're feeling. So I just do a very simple one, just play acting right now. And I'll do it and then I'll say something about it. So I started off feeling what I could call tension. Then I held that. It doesn't feel fun holding that. So my system let go. And when I let go, I started to notice a pulsing. And then I just rested in that pulsing, kind of like rocking a baby. So I ask you to please do your physical manifestation of your emotional state. Go ahead. Great. Settling into it. Great.
Yeah, I think so. It's done.
Excuse me?
I think it's done.
Okay, good. Let's take a third reading. From 1 to 10, how do you feel in regard to getting your marketing done?
6.
Okay. It's going up. So we're going to stop there because anyway, these are the 3 main exercises I use. And what I'll be saying to the audience, and again, Joseph, knowing me some, he already understands this. If you're sitting there wondering, yeah, but he didn't get to a 10, how come? Well, actually, and I've been doing various forms of coaching and hypnosis for years. If he had quickly gone to a 10, actually, I wouldn't truly believe it. I think he'd be wanting to go for a 10, but he wasn't, I hadn't actually made it there. Kind of like someone saying, oh, I know I'm not going to overeat anymore starting today. It's like, let's see. So he pretty much doubled how capable he felt in getting his marketing done well. That's a huge gain. And, there's been some very interesting studies done where they take a top athlete. Like there's a young kid, I don't remember his name right now. He can do a 42-inch vertical jump from standing. So 36 inches being a meter, roughly, huh? Anyway, if you take that kid, they haven't done this with him that I know of, but I've seen this experiment done with other athletes. They take a kid that can jump 42 inches vertically, and they tell him about some of the weaknesses they've noticed in his game recently. And this kid I'm talking about is still just coming out of college. And, you don't shoot the ball all that well. And then they ask him to jump. He's going to be able to jump much less than he's normally capable of jumping. He's already beginning to shrink. So Joseph is feeling about twice as capable as he was feeling starting out. That in itself is going to make his success much more likely. And then I want to say what's really important is he should do this process, eye circles, sounding, physical representation, 4 or 5 times a day. It's only a total of, like, say, 15 minutes. It's great if you start yourself off with it early in the day. Then depending, you might do it again at 11 o'clock or around lunchtime, and then 2 or 3 o'clock. So it's changing the way you're being in the world, and which little by little is going to change the way that you believe and what you feel capable of accomplishing. So obviously, Joseph is a pretty intelligent guy. I think we're all pretty intelligent. So there's absolutely no reason. It's not that we're not asking him to start programming software or something where he might have to take a couple of years of studying. We're just asking him actually to put his likableness, his spontaneity, and his commitment, all 3 of which in my mind he already has, into his marketing activities. So the discipline that I've created over time is called Seishindo. And I've been calling this latest protocol that I've created either unlocking muscular lock or rewiring your memories. And you can try it from what just watching the video today. Most people in the long run get clearer results when they have a human presence supporting them and watching what they're doing. But you can also very definitely be capable of following this protocol and getting results just by watching the video. So I want to say thank you to Joseph. And hopefully we're going to post this in several places. And when you do come to see it, depending on where you see it, I'd love to hear some kind of feedback from people.
I have a question.
Okay, good.
I feel as though my belief structure, that's what went from 3.5 to 6. Is that something intentional in this exercise? My belief is more strengthened.
And that's a little almost confusing when I hear this. So I said, your belief structure so what were you thinking might change?
That marketing was not something that I'm good at, so I shouldn't do it. And now, no, it's possible and can be done.
Yeah, it's all about belief, Joseph. Anything, whether you're looking to, chances are, and I don't look to demean you, but chances are you won't be able to do a 42-inch vertical leap for any number of reasons. But you'll be able to do what you're capable of for sure. And so, yes, I think you change some beliefs about yourself. And of course, in NLP, we often say that sometimes when we have a certain activity that we're not doing well in, we wind up changing that into our identity. I am not any good at X becomes part of my identity.
Right.
Which is very different than I'll really do well to do a little more studying and marketing and putting that study to use.
Got you.
Okay?
Yep, thank you.
And thank you, and I'm sure we'll be seeing each other again soon. End the recording for now. Bye-bye.
All right.